Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have a wonderful guest today, Diane Bovalino, and she's an energy healer, and everything is energy. So I'm really looking forward to a conversation with Diane today. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're also on the E360 TV network under Fresh Takes, going out to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android, Roku, and many more. We're also on mspnewsglobal.com, and we're also on Business Innovators Radio Network. I want to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. So let's bring in our incredible guest, Diane. Diane, welcome to Brilliance Business TV. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I'm excited to be with you today and all the listeners out there.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Diane. So let's get started with our first question. Diane, can you take a moment to briefly introduce yourself and tell our listeners how you got to where you are today?
Yes, I can. I'm excited to share my story. I'm a Reiki master. I am also an intuitive healer, yogi, and a spiritual coach, and also a podcast host and an international bestseller. So how I got here, to tell you a little bit about my story, is 16 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I'm blessed. I'm cancer-free. I found my way back to health through these healing modalities, and what they did is they brought my mind, body, and soul. The Reiki did, the yogi, also the meditation, the yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep. So what they did is they really brought the mind, body, and soul back. And how they brought that back is the trauma from the breast cancer. I needed to learn how to heal that. So these healing modalities basically encompassed and brought me all back to whole. So it was so healing for me that in 2018, I decided I needed to learn Reiki so I could share this with the world. And then in 2021, I got my yoga 200-hour certificate. And then in 2019, I opened Lotus Soul Healing Arts. So Lotus Soul Healing Arts is a wellness center, and it's basically, I focus on the individual and I take them along on their journey, and I focus on all my healing modalities to bring them back to their authentic self.
Firstly, I am a real big believer in manifestation. I use it in my life, and the power of energy, and also healing, how we can heal our bodies. But that's really powerful what you have just shared, Diane. I would just like to ask, did you have to have any medical treatment, or was it all from these holistic approaches?
Yes, I did. I had to go through chemo, and I had a double mastectomy. And then also after the chemo, I spent 10 years on, it was hormonal treatment. So yes. Throughout those 10 years on that hormonal treatment, I ended up finding the Reiki after the chemo. So that Reiki was during that hormonal treatment. And the key is, once you're done with that chemo, and I still saw the oncologist, but you don't see the oncologist as frequently. So one thing is, you go out into the world and you need to live now as you're defined as a breast cancer survivor, and you're still a patient. You have that fear of cancer returning.
I can imagine, yes.
And then you have this new body, your hair's still growing back, and your body is different. So I had a lot of fear of the breast cancer returning,
I
and
can imagine.
I go to therapy, and therapy was beneficial, of course, but I couldn't get rid of that fear. So the Reiki and that yoga replaced the fear with love.
Yes, yes.
And that was just so beautiful, and it was so healing it was just something, it was magical.
Yes, and I feel there'll be a lot of people that could do with that kind of support in their life and replacing love into their thoughts and their mindset to get rid of fears, because fear is the one big thing that holds so many people back. Diane, tell us about how your key services at Lotus Soul Healing Arts and the benefits to your clients.
So my first, my main key service is Reiki and intuitive healing sessions, which I do hybrid. So hybrid means hands-on. People come here, and also distant, because this way I get to serve the world. And distant, how I do distant, I do that over Zoom, and also if, FaceTime or the phone. So when I say Reiki and intuitive healing, what I'll do a lot of, I'll start with the Reiki, which is the energy healing. And that is, I will be healing, I will be clearing their chakras, clearing their energy fields, and also, I call it an energy massage. And where the intuitive healing comes in is we'll talk to them about first, what are their wellness goals? What is their background? And we will look at, their mind, body, soul. So I will then bring in my other modalities. So we'll bring in maybe a mini yoga session into the session. We'll bring in meditation. We'll bring in some affirmations. And then I do a lot of, I call it spiritual attunement sessions. So spiritual healing. And that is, maybe like an angel, they'll connect to a certain angel through angel attunement. And then we also have these path clearings, but everything is tied to tied to that client. So it's tied clearly to them and what their goals are. And also my intuitive, empathic skills tune into them and what they need.
I love that. And affirmations are so powerful. I do affirmations daily. I meditate about 3 times a day as well to reprogram my mind and keep my subconscious to the best it can be, to keep me at my best to create the life that I want and the life I deserve. So I'm really big on affirmations, and I'm really big on meditation. And meditation is so good for the mind. It really does improve brain function so much. Diane, can you tell our listeners what you do that sets you apart from others in your field, Diane?
So the one thing that I do first is they always see me. There's nobody else. Second is they come in, and one, I have many healing modalities. So as a Reiki master, I have 3 different kinds of Reiki. I'm a Yusai Tibetan Reiki master, a Karuna Reiki master, and a Holy Fire Reiki master. So I have many different kinds of Reiki, and I'll entwine all 3 of them. And that's unique. And I also am an Amadeus energy healer. So I'll also bring that in when it's needed. So I like to call myself, their spiritual health coach. So I'm walking on their health journey with them and guiding them, because the key is it's their health journey. So what's really important is we know where they want to go, and we ensure together that we're getting them there. So I want to make sure that it's tied to just them, and no service that one person comes in the door. So if you walk in my door, you and I are on Zoom, your service is going to be different from everyone else's. And each time you come in, it's going to be different. And when you leave, I like to say, I don't want to say I'm giving you homework, but when we're done with this session, I'm going to go over with you what I did and what I worked on. and then some things that you can do before you come back. I do, then we do a check on in between the services, and that's how I, see myself very different. And I'll bring in crystals, whether you're here in the office or not in the office. And then that's, again, if the person's comfortable and where they're comfortable with that. Bring in essential oils if they're comfortable with that. So I bring in a plethora of items. I also do reflexology. Bring that in if they're in the office. So I just bring in a lot of different items. I also have yoga nidra, which is similar to what you were saying with the meditation. That was very healing throughout my cancer journey, because that rewires the brain, like you were just saying with the meditation, and that replaces sleep. So I missed a lot of sleep throughout the chemo and the surgery. So when you do the yoga nidra, that can replace up to 2 to 8 hours of sleep. So I can also bring that into a healing session if that is something that intuitively I'm guided the person would benefit.
And also your personal story and personal journey and your own experience of what you've been through could be such a great support and inspiration for the people that you're working with as well, Diane.
Yes.
What matters most to you when you are working with your clients?
So the most important thing is that the individual, one, sees how they're benefiting from the services. So how do I see, right, if they're benefiting? One is, as I'm working with them, they're telling me they're sleeping better, or they're telling me that their stress and anxiety is getting better. So we communicate that way, and we talk about, right, they were here when they came in, and then here they're better. So what's really important is that we all can heal, right? So we all can heal ourselves.
Yes.
But what's important is you need to see how you're healing your mind, body, and soul. So that all goes together. So we all can heal down to our cellular level, but we need all of our parts on board. So they need to have their mind on board. So I need to make sure, right, that they're understanding that. And I see it as my job to work with them to make sure they're understanding that. So I just don't have them come in and, right, lay on the table, whether it's in my office or they're at home and we're on Zoom. I make sure I'm communicating with them, to make sure they're understanding that. So I see that as a big part as their healer, to make sure they understand that with my help, of course.
They're lucky to have you, Diane. And I know you became an international best-selling author. Tell us about how you became an international best-selling author in 2022.
Yes, that was very exciting. I have my book here. Of course, I had to bring it. So it's Entangled No More, and it is a book it's a multi-author book, and it came out in September 9th, 2022, and myself with 19 other amazing women. It is about how we overcame toxic relationships and how we are all thriving. So I was called by Spirit in August of 2022 to share my story on a toxic relationship that I suffered in a workplace and how I overcame it. I never had migraines before, and then I started with migraines. And I talk about in my chapter how we spend so much time at work, don't we all?
We
and
do.
I know, don't we? So we spend about 50% of our lives in the workplace, and how you need to feel safe in the workplace. And if you don't feel safe, then we cause inflammation in our bodies. And that's when my migraine started. So I share my healing modalities, but I share specifically how I use them. And then I share about human connection and how important that is and how I overcame it. So just so exciting. And I met 19 amazing women. So it's been just an amazing experience.
Well, congratulations. And where's the best place for people to get a copy of Entangled No More?
You can pick that up right on my website, and then I will ship that to you, and I will sign it.
So your website is lotussoulhealingarts.com. That's lotussoulhealingarts.com, where you can get a copy of Healing Arts. Where you can get a copy of Entangled No More. Now, I know you have a podcast with a colleague of yours that you started in 2022, and you really grew it into new areas. Tell us about that, Diane.
Yes, I started a podcast same time I wrote my chapter. It was in August of 2022.
You was busy.
Yes, it was quite a year. So I started that with my colleague Erica Martin, and it is called Two Italian Women and the Stories They Tell, with Erica Martin and Diane Bovalino. And what it's about is we share our stories on life, love, and heartache. And then we share the secret sauce, which is redemption. And it's out on all platforms. And we also have a YouTube channel. And recently, we just started rolling out some interviews. And some of the interviews are from the authors from Entangled No More. And also Erica's writing in a multi-author book, Co-Creating with the Divine, from also Soul Valley Publishing. So we're bringing in some of those authors too. So it's been a wonderful experience, this podcast.
Is there anything you would like to highlight, Diane, before we wrap up our interview today?
So yes, I wanted to highlight that I'm offering a discovery session, one-on-one complimentary, for an intuitive discovery session. You can book online at my website, which I know is down there. And what we will do is we'll work together to find how we can create even more abundance in your life, more happiness together. So I'd love for you to sign up.
So Diane, I would ask, who are you talking to today? Who is this complimentary intuitive discovery session really perfect for? Who are you reaching out to? Who do you want to come forward and grab this opportunity?
I would say, I've been working a lot with a lot of actual men and women. A lot of the men and women that I've been working with, I would say, are in the ages between, I'd say, 35 to 55, I'd say. And they're really either just digging into, they're going through some stress and some anxiety. Some folks are like looking for a different career, and they really want to just get to some clean energy healing. They also are looking to work on some of the classes that I offer, but the session really kind of just has us dig into what can we work on together for the next stages.
And so it could be people who are going through any kind of trauma. They may have health issues and they need to bring up their mindset and feel better and get some energy healing. Or it could be people for careers that want to just build more abundance and more wealth in their life. So it's quite a broad variety, really, isn't it, Diane? So yes. I would encourage, if that's you, go to lotussoulhealingarts.com. That's lotussoulhealingarts.com and get your complimentary intuitive discovery session with Diane. Diane, I've thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it also.
The pleasure's been all mine, Diane. Thank you once again. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.